I am this way because of that person or that thing, that circumstance, which is really saying I'm allowing my outer world to control my feelings and my thoughts. And so then the moment you say, hey, this is this person or this circumstance that's making me feel this way, then you're a victim to those circumstances. So then there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how we live in our humanity. So as an example, the more altered you feel emotionally inside of you because of some condition in your outer world, let's say something causes you to feel angry or something causes you to feel sad. The moment you stop feeling like Laura and you start feeling altered, the change in your internal state causes you to pay attention to what's happening in your outer world. And so you narrow your focus on the cause. Now, the problem with that is that the problems and circumstances in our life that are causing us to feel the most emotions, we're putting most of our attention on. And where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So in a sense, you're giving your power away to that person or that circumstance. So then now your energy is commingled with the person that you dislike, with your enemy, with your boss, with your coworker, with your ex, because that's where all of your attention is. So then when you're living in survival, then you're saying, well, that person who's betraying me or that person that's making me feel unhappy, I got to be prepared when it happens again. So we start anticipating subconsciously it's going to happen again. So we live in this constant state of vigilance, this constant state of survival. And in survival, it's not a time to create. If you're being chased by a predator, it's not a time to sit down on the ground, go within, close your eyes. You would be vulnerable. It's not a time to learn. It's not a time to open your heart. It's not a time to go within. It's a time to run, to fight, and to hide. And so the primitive nature in us in survival, which again, 70% of the time, we're living in that state of emergency. And in emergency, it's not a time for growth. It's not a time to create. It's not a time for repair. It's a time for emergency. So then think about this. So then if you're waking up every single day and you're living in this constant state, then for the most part, then you're not going to want to believe that your thoughts have anything to do with your future. In fact, getting a person to sit down and close their eyes, who's fearful, who's anxious, who's worried, who's depressed, that takes an enormous amount of effort. So, but if they understand the theory and the technology, then all of a sudden, if they start applying themselves and going within, and every time they start noticing a thought that's connected to a person or to an emotion, and they stop and they settle their body back down into the present moment, the act of doing that is a victory. Most people say, I can't focus. No, you became aware that you lost the present moment and you return back to the present moment. Every time you do that, you're telling the body it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind, and there's a liberation of energy. The body's releasing energy. Then the body says, well, you normally wake up at 8 o'clock, you get in traffic, and now all of a sudden you start getting angry in traffic, and now you're sitting there with your eyes closed and the body's going, you're off schedule. You usually feel angry at this time, so the body starts craving anger, and so what it does is it sends signals to the brain of all the past things in your life you can get angry about. And now the moment you realize that your brain is doing that just for the addiction of that emotion, and where you place your attention is where you place your energy. If you put your attention on that emotion, you're siphoning energy out of the present moment into the past. You become aware of that. You return back to the present moment, and you tell the body then it's no longer the mind. You settle it down. That's another victory. Then the body says, well, I want to get up. I got emails to check. I got to take a shower. I got phone calls to make. I got texts to return. And it wants to get up. And you wanted it to sit down, and you realize that when it's on a program and it starts to do that, and you settle it back down into the present moment, it's another victory. That means then your will is getting greater than the program, and David is slaying Goliath. And in the act of doing this over time, sooner or later, like the body, it's just the animal, it's just the servant. Sooner or later, if you're training an animal to sit, sooner or later it's going to learn how to sit, and the body finally surrenders to another mind. And that is the moment the person starts freeing themselves.